You've probably been there, right? You're in a meeting, a truly game-changing idea pops up, and then it gets shot down by a spreadsheet. Or maybe you've seen the opposite, a project with all this amazing creative energy, but zero discipline, and it just fizzles out. Well, that's the creativity planning paradox. It's a battle every single team, company, and leader has to deal with. And today, we're going to unpack the framework that can actually solve it.
So, really, is planning the enemy of creativity? I mean, that's the big question we're digging into here. It really feels like this fundamental conflict, doesn't it? On one hand, you need plans for order, for efficiency, but on the other, you're desperate for that creative spark that leads to breakthroughs. So, how in the world do you get both without one just completely destroying the other?
Yeah, and this really lays out that perceived war perfectly, doesn't it? You've got planning over here. That's all budgets, timelines, spreadsheets, and control. It's structured, it's predictable. Then you've got creativity. We're talking breakthroughs, new ideas, those aha moments, and yeah, even a little bit of chaos. They just seem like total opposites. But what if they aren't? All right, so to solve this whole paradox, we've got to first break down what we really mean when we talk about creativity, especially in a business context. Because, it's not just one thing. It's actually a combination of two very different but totally vital ingredients. Okay, first up, you've got individual creativity. Think of this as that classic lone genius spark. That light bulb moment. It's that fresh angle that one person brings to the table, and it usually comes from their own deep knowledge and just personal drive. Any plan worth its salt has to create space for this. You got to give people the freedom to experiment and follow those hunches. And then the second key ingredient is group creativity. This is that magic that happens when you get a bunch of different people, different brains in a room together. Their ideas start to collide, they build on each other, and you get this creative abrasion that creates something way better. But here's the kicker. This doesn't just happen by accident. No way. It needs a very specific kind of structure, a specific environment to really work. So the big question is, how do you actually build a plan that can foster both of those things, the individual spark and the group magic? Well, the answer lies in a really powerful framework that's designed to do exactly that. Think of it as the leader's ultimate toolkit for solving this paradox. So the core idea here comes from a couple of researchers, O'Reilly and Tushman, and they call it the ambidextrous organization. And it's just like it sounds, being able to use both hands equally well. The big idea is that the most successful companies, they don't try to force one plan to fit everything. Nope. Instead, they actually structure themselves to do two totally different things and do them exceptionally well all at the same time. So this framework breaks things down into two key activities. On one side, you've got exploitation. Now that sounds kind of harsh, but it just means running the current business, what pays the bills today. It's all about maximum efficiency and control, so think traditional, pretty rigid plans. And then on the other side, you've got exploration. This is all about developing new products, new ideas, and that requires flexibility, autonomy, and a real tolerance for failure. And here's the secret sauce. You have to separate them. You build a wall between them so that the rigid plans for today don't accidentally crush the fragile new ideas for tomorrow. But here's the thing. For that exploration side to really, truly work, you need more than just a separate team on an org chart. You need a very specific kind of culture. And that's where this idea of psychological safety comes in. It's a term from researcher Amy Edmondson, and she defines it as the shared belief that you won't be punished or shamed or humiliated for speaking up, whether it's with a crazy idea, a dumb question, or even admitting you made a mistake. And this is absolutely crucial, because without that feeling of safety, group creativity is pretty much dead on arrival. It just won't happen. People will keep their heads down, they'll play it safe, they'll only share the obvious, incremental ideas. And all those truly bold, maybe even kind of weird, but potentially brilliant ideas, they just stay buried. It's a total innovation killer. Okay, so that's all the theory. It sounds good on paper, right? But does this stuff actually work out in the real world? Well, let's take a look at two global giants of creativity and see exactly how they've managed this paradox. All right, first up, let's talk about Lego. And their story is, it's actually a bit of a cautionary tale. Believe it or not, back in the early 2000s, this iconic company was staring bankruptcy right in the face. And the reason why is just fascinating. It wasn't a lack of creativity. It was that they had too much creativity with no plan to control it. I mean, they were in full-on exploration mode, just constantly launching new stuff. They came out with products like these Galador action figures that had literally nothing to do with their core brick system that everyone loved. They got so obsessed with chasing the next new thing that they completely lost control of their day-to-day business, that exploitation side we talked about. Their plan, if you can call it that, was just all chaos and no control.
So how did they pull themselves back from the brink? You guessed it. They became ambidextrous. But, and this is super important, they did it in a very specific order. First things first, they got ruthless about discipline. They had to fix their core business, get it back on solid ground. Only after that was stable did they even think about systematically rebuilding their engine for innovation. And the result of this turnaround is, well, it's just incredible. A perfect example is the LEGO Ideas platform. I mean, think about it. It's a planned system designed specifically for creativity. It's a formal, structured process to bring in amazing ideas from fans all over the world. That's their new exploration engine. And then the winning ideas get fed right into their super disciplined, super efficient exploitation business. It's genius.
Okay, now for our second case study, Cirque du Soleil. And what's so cool about them is that, unlike Lego, who had to learn this lesson the hard way, Cirque was basically built on this ambidextrous model from day one.
I mean, their whole company's structure is just a masterclass in this. You've got exploration happening at their creation division up in Montreal. Picture a world of total creative freedom, flexible timelines, all designed to dream up these breathtaking new shows. Then you've got their exploitation side. That's the massive global touring operation, and it is a masterpiece of logistics, run with rigid, military-like precision, where the plan is all about safety and pulling off a flawless show, night after night. Two completely different worlds under one roof in perfect balance. Okay, so that's all super interesting, but what does it actually mean for you? How can you take these lessons from giants like Lego and Cirque and apply them to your own work? Whether it's, a group project for school or a business you want to start someday. Let's get into the playbook. All right, there are 3 really big principles to lock in. First, creativity is not an accident. It's not lightning in a bottle. It's a system that you have to intentionally build. Second, as a leader, your job is to plan the culture, to build that psychological safety, not just to plan the work. And third, the absolute best plans are the ones that harness both that individual lone genius spark and the power of group creativity. And if you want a simple, actionable process, here it is in 4 steps. Step 1, start solo. Let everyone brainstorm their own wild, crazy options first, without judgment. Step 2, then you go to the group. Mash all those ideas together in a space that you've made psychologically safe. Step 3, build the system. Create that clear plan that protects your exploration work from the day-to-day demands of exploitation. And finally, step 4, iterate fast. Build a simple prototype, get it out there, get feedback, and then revise. Rinse and repeat. So, we've covered a lot about how to balance planning and creativity right now, today. But what about tomorrow? I want to end this with one final thought, a look at how this entire dynamic might be about to change. And I mean radically change. Just think about this for a second. With generative AI getting better and better, it's going to start automating more and more of that exploitation side of things. Optimizing budgets, writing the reports, all that stuff. So where does that leave us? Well, our human value is going to shift, and shift decisively, over to exploration. The most critical skill won't be execution, it'll be using AI as a creative partner. It'll be about asking it brand new questions and debating the new foundations that it generates. So mastering this paradox we've just talked about, it's not just a good idea anymore. It might just be the most important leadership skill of the next decade. So the real question is, what new questions are you going to ask?